king of beers. Remember, know when to say when.
And welcome back to Chicago. Not much wind, but it's very cold here, and the Bears leading the Buccaneers 14-7 at halftime. Dick Stockton and Merlin Olsen with you, and game in which the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have been able to run more than the Chicago Bears, which is unusual, but Mike Tomczak, more the passer than Jim Harbaugh, has performed well after an 0-5 start, has really outthrown Vinny Testaverde.
He has thrown very well, although each of the quarterbacks have had some trouble with receivers. The trouble has come for the defensive backs today, keeping their feet on the field. And I've got to believe that that is going to become even more difficult here in the second half. The other thing I think will be difficult for Tampa Bay, you go back into that warm dressing room, it's kind of hard to come back out onto this field. It's hard for both teams. Both teams are cold, but the Bears live in this weather. They're in it every day. It's much easier for them to adjust.
Willie Drury is back deep for the Buccaneers, and Tampa Bay players who are not in there right now trying to stay as warm as they can on the sideline. Bears will be kicking off. Kevin Butler will spread out for the kickoff. Buccaneers scored first. Testaverde to Carrier. Brad Muster scored from 5 yards out. Wendell Davis caught an 18-yard strike from Tomczak, and that's been the scoring. Willie Drury on the return for Tampa Bay. You can see there what Merlin was pointing out. Tentative with his footwork, and is down at the 29-yard line by Glenell Sanders. Sanders added to the roster along with Terry Price in an injury-depleted defensive unit, particularly the linebacking for the Bears.
They mentioned how those linebackers are really the best special teamers, and of course he immediately went to work on special teams. Has not seen a lot of action other than that today.
1st and 10 for the Buccaneers on their own 29. Passing on 1st down. Testaverde slides after picking up close to 5. Pressure that time from Dan Hampton.
Testaverde had set up the screen, something that Richard Williamson said he wanted to use more of. They did not use a lot of the screen, a lot of draw, a lot of play action, and they are going to be using a lot more of that. But on that particular play, Testaverde wisely realized that there was no possibility for that screen and ran it upfield.
And not be as predictable as they were under Ray Perkins.
They want to get out of their 1st down rut.
2nd down and 6. Short drop. Testaverde's pass not well thrown, intended for Mark Carrier on the slant pattern. Defending on the play was Donnell Wolford.
The secondary for the Bears finally healthy after a number of weeks of injuries. Wolford has had ankle problems. Vesti Jackson able to play very little last week. They are finally healthy, and that secondary has become the strength of this Bear defense. They can really make it rough on you.
3rd down and 6 for the Buccaneers in the opening minute of the second half. Testaverde in trouble, and down he goes for the first time today, and it was Steve McMichael picking up the sack on Testaverde, and that will force the Buccaneers to punt.
Credit the coverage for this sack. McMichael coming from his left tackle position, number 76, but Testaverde cannot find a receiver. Watch this. He just comes right back up inside and is met by McMichael.
Royals to punt. High kick. Bailey will call for a fair catch at the 35. Coming up next, second half of the CBS doubleheader. The San Francisco 49ers, already assured of home field advantage throughout the playoffs, take on the New Orleans Saints, who still have a flicker of hopes for the 3rd wild card berth.
Saints opened their season with the 49ers and really nailed them. In fact, had they not made a couple of very foolish calls late in that game, would have taken a victory away from the 49ers.
Niners ended up winning by 1 point.
Another Montana special, Dick.
First down on the 35, and Mark Green gets nothing. Ooh. Reuben Davis might have been the first to reach him.
Reuben Davis just stacked it up over there. Put Keith Van Horn right back into the play.
Let's listen to the hit on this running play.
Ooh.
Bears, 36.
Broderick Thomas also there. Winston Moss 58, but Davis, the man who stacked it up initially, putting Keith Van Horn right back into the middle of it.
Second down and 9. Play fake, and Tomczak's pass is caught by Muster. Make a wish. Moeen Haddix holding on. And Muster picks up 6 yards on that play. He was the big receiver in the first half along with Wendell Davis. Muster scored a touchdown on the ground as well for Chicago.
Passing success that Mike Tomczak has had in this game adds an extra dimension to what the Bears are able to do. They've proven that they can run the football, and of course with Neil Anderson back, they'll run it even better. But they need to be able to throw when they have to throw the football. Tomczak has done a pretty good job of that in the first half of this game.
Third down and 3 at the 42, and the handoff to Muster. And Brad Muster appears to have enough for the first down.
Mark Bortz doubled over again. He's got a stinger, a neck problem as he heads off the field. We saw him injured a little earlier in this ball game, and with Hilgenberg out of the lineup, that means we're going to have 2 replacements in that offensive line. There is Bortz.
Hilgenberg suffered a twisted right ankle and gave way to Jerry Fontenot in the first half.
Great run blocking. Here's Bortz right here. He's going to come around on a little trap play here, and they're going to come right back up inside. But Bortz ends up banging himself on that play. Nails McCants on the shot. You see him doubling over right there in pain.
First down for the Bears on their 46. Play fake. And the pass is incomplete. It was intended for Jim Thornton, the tight end. And Mark Green made a very good block in the backfield to give Tomczak a little time, but the play didn't work.
Second and 10 for the Bears, 46.
The Bears 51-15 here at Soldier Field under Mike Ditka. This year they are 6-0, and only the Buffalo Bills are undefeated at home, as well as the Chicago Bears. They have been a force in this stadium.
Even though that's a calmer Mike Ditka than you've seen in the past, he has been very emotional here today.
Second down and 10. Another pass attempt. This one is incomplete. No Bears near the play.
Broderick Thomas saying, hey, throw the flag on that one. The official will give Tomczak the benefit of the doubt.
That time the Bears did not effectively keep the Buccaneers out.
These are the kinds of downs that you worry about, because this is a must throw down, a 3rd and long, and you see some of the emotion of Ditka on the sideline.
Well, he's upset with Mark Green because he blocked well on the previous play, but he did not block well at all on the last one. Third down and 10. They keep the Buccaneers out, and going deep and overthrowing the intended receiver, Ron Morris. And that'll bring up 4th down. So the Buccaneers do a good job that time, and Mike Ditka is furious.
Morris appeared to slow up in that route. Tomczak had him down the sideline, and Morris appeared to slow up at one point. Tomczak assuming that he is still on the fly. And there they are talking about the miscommunication right there.
Maury Buford, for the 3rd time, will be kicking. There's Willie Drury back deep for the Buccaneers. He came prepared with long sleeves, thermals, I'm sure, and gloves. Ricky Reynolds nearly got a piece of that. And Drury on the 20-yard line. Barely gets to the 30, where James Rouse puts him down. 9-yard return that time for Drury. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, trailing 14-7, will go to Burke. Vinny Testaverde gets a few last words from Coach Williamson.
51 right here is going to show young Mark Green what it's like to be thrown by an excellent pass rushing linebacker. Anderson does that so well in the backfield. Green is learning.
First down on the 29-yard line. Reggie Cobb. Of course, Green has a lot of big shoes to fill today.
He certainly does, and probably for the next week as well, Dick, as Neil Anderson not expected to play in that game either. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers early in this game established a running game, and it gave them something to build off of with their play action passing. That's something they need to do here again in the second half.
Second down and 7 on the 32. 14-7 in favor of the Bears. Testaverde's pass is intercepted by Mark Carrier, and that'll set a Bears record. That's number 10 for Carrier, breaking Roosevelt Taylor's mark, set back in 1963. A tremendous feat, the rookie, with 10 interceptions this year.
There's a lot of time for Testaverde in the pocket. He finally breaks out, and it's hard to throw when you're running to your left. That ball just horribly thrown right into the arms of Mark Carrier. Looks like he's trying to get downfield to a wide receiver on that play, Mark Carrier, but the other Carrier got in the way.
And a first down for the Bears. 2 yards shy of midfield. Tomczak's pass is caught by Davis, and they pick up nearly 8 yards. Defending was Wayne Haddix.
You don't think Vinny Testaverde said this is for Mark Carrier, did you?
He had the wrong
Carrier.
Mark Carrier with 10 interceptions. He broke Johnny Lujak's record, rookie record with interceptions last week, and he breaks Roosevelt Taylor's mark set in the Bears championship year in 1963. And Jay Hilgenberg
back in the lineup,
back in the game with a twisted ankle and all. Second down and 2. Brad Muster, he's got the first down.
For the Bears, first down.
Harry Hamilton on the stop.
I guess if you're one of those Bears offensive linemen, you're only allowed to rest one at a time, and Bortz is on the sideline, Becker in his place, and Hilgenberg is back in his familiar place, still playing with that badly injured right elbow, something he's had since 1967. It bothers him, but he bothers nose tackles a lot worse than that elbow bothers him.
Mark Bortz on the sideline. He's a Pro Bowler. First and 10 Bears on the Tampa Bay 41. Green goes in motion. Tomczak slipped coming out of the pocket, but he completes the pass to Ron Morris. And another Chicago first down inside the 25. Haddix defending. 17 yards to Morris.
If Tomczak can keep this up, Greg Landry may get to call a few plays. Tomczak loves to go outside, likes to get to those outside receivers, and that's just a fine job of getting open by Morris and getting some extra yards after the catch.
Well, anyone who's commenting about the Chicago Bears offensive line protection better take another look, because they're doing the job as well as they possible right now. First down Chicago on the 24. With 2 tight ends, Mark Green claws his way to the 20-yard line, and Willie Wyatt, the nose tackle, and Urban Randall, the linebacker, making the play.
One of the things that Mike Ditka has talked to his team about all week long, when you've got people hurt, and they have a whole host of people hurt. In fact, they only dressed 43 for this game today. They didn't even dress the 45 they're allowed to dress. Don't have anybody to put in uniform. He said everybody's got to pick it up a little bit. Everybody's got to take it up a notch. The Bears have been able to do that here today.
Second down and 6. Offense was under the microscope coming into this game for the Bears. Short drop, and the pass is caught by Wendell Davis, and he was down after a pickup of 8 yards. Haddix defending on the play. Keep in mind, the Bears do not have 6 players who were knocked out in the Detroit game last week, including the quarterback Jim Harbaugh and Neil Anderson, one of the best running backs in the NFL. 1st and 10, Bears driving on the 12-yard line of Tampa Bay. 2 tight ends and Brad Mustard. Tomczak's pass to Thornton. He's going to get in for a Chicago touchdown. And that's Thornton's first touchdown catch of the year.
James Thornton, one of the best tight ends in football. He's only had 16 catches coming into this ball game. Well, this is a big one here. Eugene Marv on the matchup, and Marv just not enough speed to catch up with Thornton, who knows how to put it in the end zone.
20-7 the score, and Kevin Butler is on. (21-7) in favor of the Bears. 6:50 left on the clock in the 3rd quarter. Chicago, Mike Tomczak subbing for Jim Harbaugh has thrown his 2nd touchdown pass of the game to Jim Thornton as the Bears have opened up their lead to 21-7 over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as the Bears capitalized on a Tampa Bay turnover with Mark Carrier intercepting his 10th pass of the season. Kevin Butler will kick off. Willie Drury is the deep man. And the ball is going to bounce and go out of bounds. Or did it go in for a touchback? It's a touchback.
Boy, that's smart play, but dangerous play by Drury. That ball actually hit the marker on the goal line, which is considered to be in the end zone, so it is a touchback.
And Vinny Testaverde has hurt his elbow, and Chris Chandler has gone in to play quarterback for Tampa Bay. Testaverde flexing his hand on the sideline. Find out whether it's the elbow or hand or what, but Chandler has replaced him at quarterback.
It could be the feeling in that hand. We mentioned how hard this field is. If you come down on an elbow, very often you can damage the nerves in the hand.
1st down on the 20. Reggie Cobb gets 1 yard. Perry and Pruitt both in on the play.
The fridge there, stacking it up inside.
So Testaverde is on the sideline, and Chris Chandler now the quarterback.
We saw Chris Chandler earlier in a game against the San Francisco 49ers. Sacked about 6 times, hit 20 other times, ran for his life all day long. You never doubt about his courage. He's got some promise as a quarterback.
2nd down and 9. Chandler is going to try to outrun McMichael and Singletary, and he can, and will drop down. Richard Dent put the initial pressure on, and that will bring up 3rd down and long.
Pressure from the Bears on that 5-man line. Dent coming quickly, jumping over the top of the blocker right there, Reggie Cobb, and Chandler had no chance. And number 50, so often the sight that you see here when you run with the football, Mike Singletary coming right up in your face.
3rd down and 10. Chandler out of the shotgun. Losing his footing. And this pass incomplete, intended for Carrier, and Sean Gale was going after the football, and he very nearly picked one off. Looks like Chandler wants to get out of there in a hurry.
He's got the hands tucked away in the warmer. I mentioned it's more difficult in this 2nd half. The cold bites even deeper after you've been out here for a half, gone back into a warm dressing room, and had to come out and face this 2nd half.
Johnny Bailey getting his footing down, and Mark Royals kicks, short kick. But Bailey not taking any chances because the Bears will get the ball in a good situation. as it is down on the Chicago 48-yard line. A 32-yard kick, no return. So the Bears taking over, leading 21-7. Chicago, Dick Stockton and Merlin Olsen, all the flags at half staff in memory of Fred Washington, the rookie who died tragically in an automobile accident early Friday morning. Bears on their own 48-yard line. First down, 2 tight ends. Brad Muster picks up about a yard, yard and a half. Davis and Wyatt up front, and a penalty marker thrown on the defensive side of the field.
Looked like some late action with James Cooley in there, one of the linebackers. James Coley, not Cooley.
Personal foul, 15-yard face mask foul, 52 defense.
Keith McCants. Face mask.
Number 52, McCants, right there coming in. And that's Coley, number 89, working on McCants. And McCants grabbed him by the face mask and jerked his head around. Flag came flying. McCants very happy to finally be getting his chance to play, trying to learn the pass defense side of this Tampa Bay Buck defense.
1st and 10 for the Bears on the 35 of Tampa Bay. Brad Muster, who's been dangerous as a receiver today, picks up a couple. Keith McCants on the stop.
A gain of 2. 2nd and 8. The Buck 33.
When you talk to the offensive lineman for Chicago, talking with Tom Thayer this morning, he said, if we can throw the football outside and deep more effectively, we're going to force teams to loosen their defense against us. We're going to give ourselves more room to run the football inside. And that's something they have been able to do here today. Tomczak has stretched it out.
2nd down and 8. Tomczak to throw. And Muster was the target. The pass overthrown, and that will bring up 3rd down and 8. The Bears lost their last 2 games to the Redskins and the Lions. In fact, have lost 3 out of their last 4, all being on the road. 3rd down conversions were a problem. 26th in the league, but they're at 40%, and that's not bad, according to Greg Landry.
No, he said that that's the area that they want to be in. They'd like to move up to about 42 or 43, but 40% certainly an improvement on what they have done during the season.
Pass batted down.
Look out.
By Tomczak.
All right.
And Tomczak on the deflection by Keith McCants ran as soon as he got his hands on the ball and picked up 5 yards.
In case you're wondering, he can certainly catch it and run with it. He cannot throw it a second time, but he did it very quickly.
Well, that improved the field goal opportunity for Kevin Butler, who earlier missed a 42-yard attempt. This will be a longer try from 46 yards. 3:22 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Tomczak will hold. And this kick looks good. Well, Mike Ditka wanted touchdowns today. He said, not the field goal, I want the touchdown, but that's one field goal he'll take. 46 yards for Kevin Butler, and it's now 24-7 the Bears.
Kevin Butler, and you've got a bad right shoulder. How do you signal when the field goal goes through? Absolutely. There it is.
Butler will be kicking off 24-7 in favor of the Bears. A loss will eliminate Tampa Bay's slim chances of getting into the playoffs. John Harvey might have bobbled the ball. He held on. Well, next Saturday on CBS Sports, the NFL Today will kick off the football activity at 3:30 Eastern time. It'll be the Eagles against the Cardinals beginning at 3:30, and of course the Philadelphia Eagles are in a position to end up with a home field advantage for the first game of the wild card against the Redskins. If the Eagles and the Redskins wind up with the same record, Philadelphia would have the home field edge because of a better conference record. So the game today with Dallas and next week against the Cardinals is pivotal. That's with the Redskins losing to the Colts last night. First down on the 20, Chris Chandler. And his pass is complete to Ron Hall. Mike Singletary on the stop.
Ron Hall, another one of those fine tight ends in this NFC Central Division. They really have a corner on some of the best.
First catch of the day for Hall.
Houston, 20. Cincinnati, 20.
Second down and 1. Gary Anderson is checked back in the lineup for Tampa Bay. And a fumble. And Reggie Cobb apparently has recovered the ball. That's the second time today that Reggie Cobb has had to recover his own team's fumble.
Mickey Pruitt there fighting with him for that football. Watch the snap right there. Did not get up. Every quarterback takes the ball differently. Grimes, of course, used to snapping to Testaverde. Did not get it up to Chandler on that play.
Buccaneers have fumbled 4 times today and have lost just 1.
2 of those on bad snaps.
Third down and penalty marker down. Dent started to go in. Let's see if he was drawn off. Bob McElwee, whose ears are warm today. It'll be against the Chicago Bears.
Richard Dent is so used to looking inside for motion. He's looking for the ball. Here's Dent on the outside. What he's going to see is movement on the inside, and that's going to set him off. Turn it loose, and let's watch the movement inside. Singletary steps up. You're going to see one of those. See, there's the jump right there, and that started Dent moving. No chance to get back. 5-yard penalty and a first down.
Ball is on the 33 of Tampa Bay. Play action fake, and Chandler going deep, and the pass is bobbled and incomplete. Intended for Bruce Hill, and he was covered by Carrier and Wolford, and Chandler got hit.
Chandler got hit by a couple of runaway buses on that last play. Price and Perry, shoulder to shoulder, went right over the top of him, and I don't think he's seeing things straight. Now, if you're Vinny's got to go back into the ball game.
Well, the third quarterback, Jeff Carlson, is inactive for this game, so Buccaneers have just 2 quarterbacks, and Testaverde had to come out in the second half with an injured elbow that made his hand numb. Now he's going to have to come in numb or no numb to throw in place of Chandler.
Situation we talked to Ditka about yesterday. We said, what do you do if both of your quarterbacks going down or would go down? Peter Tom Willis, the backup here, he said, I hope to have a third quarterback by Monday. So he is concerned by that as well.
And if this game were played Monday, he'd be all right. But
let's look at that hit. Watch from the inside. Perry is going to come. Price will come from the right. The 2 of them are going to shoulder inside. There it is. Bang. Actually, it's Armstrong and Perry. 93. Price was coming from the backside. But shoulder to shoulder, and they just buried Chandler. I wonder if he probably thought he wandered out in the freeway, got hit by one of those trucks.
I'm sure Tampa Bay will have a third quarterback on Monday, too.
Well, maybe keep him active next week.
Right.
At the box, 33.
Look at him. He's still shaking his head. I don't blame him. Well, Perry's about 325. Trace Armstrong, no small man. He's 6'4" and 265.
Gary Anderson is split out to the left on second down and 10. Testaverde back in there at quarterback. Going right, and the pass on a fade pattern to Hill, but covered step for step by Vesty Jackson, and that will bring up third down. Bears secondary have had a remarkable season, coming into this game with 29 interceptions, leading the National Football League, and the Bears have picked off 1 today, that by Mark Carrier, who leads the team with 10. 3rd and 10. Anderson still split to the left. And he dumps it off to Cobb out of the backfield, and Jim Morrissey was there. No way he was going to get 10 yards, a pickup of 7. And Tampa Bay will kick once more in the final minute of this 3rd quarter.
Richard Williamson talking about this Bear team. He said they've made a real transition from a man-to-man and blitzing team in '89 to a zone team in 1990. Well, they played the zones there, and they played them beautifully. All they gave Testaverde was the underneath pass. It wasn't enough.
Mark Royals with a high kick. Johnny Bailey with a fair catch at the 28. This game is presented by authority of the National Football League, and the CBS telecast is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of CBS, the Chicago Bears, and the National Football League is prohibited. Chris Chandler. Had to come out of the game in relief of Vinny Testaverde.
I think he's saying, I'm all right now. I'm ready to go. Vinny will be glad to hear that. I don't.
Bears with a 1st down on their 29. Bears defense have totally stopped the Buccaneers ever since the 1st quarter. Tomczak's pass is caught by Rouse. Make it Thornton. Jim Thornton. And it was Kevin Murphy on the tackle. A gain of 18 yards, and Thornton comes up limping.
Thornton grabbing his right leg a little bit.
And that is the end of the 3rd quarter with the score. The Bears 24 and the Bucs 7. And our coverage will continue after this message from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
James Thornton, number 80. He's going to catch the football. Now watch him as he's tackled, and he starts forward right there. Stop it right there. That knee coming down on that rock-hard turf. Boy, that pain has to shoot all the way through you. He's off the field momentarily.
1st down on the 47 for the Bears. Brad Muster gets to midfield. Willie Wyatt on the stop. Bears lost twice to Tampa Bay last year, including a defeat naturally at Soldier Field. It was the first time in 10 years that the Buccaneers had beaten the Bears in this stadium.
There's Fred Bruni, the defensive coordinator for Tampa Bay Bucks. He's had a tough week. Ill earlier in the week. In fact, one of the coaches telling me he thought that they traced it to too much coffee, too many hours of watching films, but he is feeling better today. Not terribly thrilled, I'm sure, to see 24 points on the board against his defense.
Mike Tomczak calls a timeout. So the Bears use one.
Okay, everybody, listen up.
See playoff picture. The Bills can clinch the division title and home field advantage with a win. They're leading Miami 17-7 in the 4th quarter, and the Raiders can wrap it up if Kansas City loses to San Diego later today. 2nd down and 7 after a Bears timeout at midfield. Tomczak out to Muster. He's got the 1st down, and out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Wayne Haddix again defending. The wild card picture in the AFC, Miami and Kansas City are the prime contenders, but Pittsburgh, Houston, and Cincinnati are still alive to possibly win the AFC Central Division title.
Head-to-head battles in that AFC Central between Houston and Cincinnati today, Houston and Pittsburgh next week. So a lot of that settled in those 2 contests.
Houston and Cincinnati tied 20-20 in the 3rd quarter. Pittsburgh romping over the Cleveland Browns. 1st and 10. Tomczak. Good catch again by Muster. And Muster gets close to 1st down yardage. That's his 5th catch of the game.
Excuse me, Dick. Back-to-back excellent passes from Tomczak, both to Muster. This one requires a good read, a good job by Green on the linebacker Thomas to give him time, And then a rifle shot outside, even if it was a little high. Muster went up and lassoed it and brought it down. There's 31. Watch Mark Green right there. He missed him earlier in the game. He didn't miss him there.
And that block is what made this play work.
Absolutely made it happen. Tomczak showing more and more confidence as this day develops.
And a first down. Big day for Muster. In total offense, the ball is on the 30-yard line of Tampa Bay. And the pass to Muster was thrown behind him, incomplete. So Brad Muster is on the verge of going over 100 yards receiving.
You talk to these Chicago Bears, Dick, and they'll tell you that there was a turning point in this year for them. In that halftime, at about halftime of the Atlanta Falcon game, suddenly things came to a standstill. And offensively, since that time, they've had a couple of victories, both in overtime. They have just not been able to generate the kind of power that they needed. But look on that scoreboard today. Their goal today was to get over 20 points. They've already got 24. Their goal defensively to hold their opponent under 17. Well, they're way below that here today.
So they're getting the job done.
They're getting it back in gear.
Second down and 10, and the pass nearly intercepted by Roderick Thomas. It was intended for James Thornton, who came back in the game after being shaken up.
Just a final thought. Ditka said we've got to get back to playing playoff quality football. Well, I think they're playing well enough today to match up with those playoff teams.
Well, they're going to have to finish on this kind of a note, because the Bears, when they go into the playoffs, are going to have to play the first week at home, but then travel, if they win the second week, likely will play the New York Giants. In fact, that will be their matchup in the second week, if they win. Third down and 10. Tomczak. And Dennis Gentry can't hold on to it. Everett was covering, but Gentry had the ball in his hand.
We talked about the difficulty of catching the football on a cold day like today, but these Bears practice every day in this kind of weather. A real rifle shot by Tomczak, maybe a little too much on that football.
It is going to be fourth down and 10. Tom Waddle has come in as an extra receiver, and the Bears with a big lead.
Wow.
Going to go for it on fourth down and 10, leading 24-7.
Well, feeling it maybe out of the range for their kicker, and there's not much to be gained from a punt.
The pass is thrown away. Davis was the intended receiver, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will take over on downs. So Tampa Bay trailing 24-7 comes back on offense.
You know the one. It's McDonald's for food, folks, and fun. Interstate Batteries now with over 180,000 dealers across the U.S. and Canada. And by Coors Light, the one that won't slow you down. The Silver Bullet is the right beer now.
First down for Tampa Bay on the 30-yard line, and a swing pass to Gary Anderson. Jackson and then Morrissey push him out of bounds after a short gain of 4 yards.
Gary Anderson has not touched the ball a great deal today. We mentioned his rib problems. You can see the flak jacket under his, well, looks like maybe he's taking it off now. He wore the flak jacket earlier, but I think he's actually taking it off, maybe at halftime.
Leading rusher for the Buccaneers had not scored a touchdown in his last 9 games coming into this contest. Second down and 6. Anderson comes out as a receiver to the right. And an audible called by Testaverde back in. Testaverde's pass, and Carrier may have it picked off. It is by Donnell Wolford. And that is the second interception of the game by the Bears.
Testaverde, watch him here. He knows that they don't have enough people to block. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4 people and only 3 blockers over here. Watch Testaverde. He points over. He said, no, we can't block him. Finally, he gets Cobb over, but shoots it downfield without full concentration. And look who's there.
So Wolford gets a cheer, and so does the new quarterback in for the Chicago Bears. the rookie, Peter Tom Willis, who came in and completed 7 of 8 and a touchdown last week against Detroit. Willis, the rookie from Florida State, on the pitch to Johnny Bailey. And he is thrown back for a loss by Keith McCants. A loss of 4 yards.
Looked like he may have had the face mask, but he must have had a hold of the pads as he swings Bailey. Watch McCants spin to the outside. A tremendous play, and let's see what he's got a hold of. Looks like he has his hand down inside the pads. And Bailey, who's not a big back, looked like a sack of flour on that one.
Well, we have a sack of flour. We've had a suitcase filled with bricks today on the kick.
And we've had some excellent performance by these Bears today.
2nd down and 14 with 11:03 remaining in the 4th quarter. Willis throws it up for grabs, and the pass nearly intercepted by Mark Robinson. He got tripped up. Wendell Davis, the intended receiver.
Robinson's feet shot out from underneath him. Pressure on Peter Tom Willis. I talked to him about last week. He said, hey, I was a little nervous going in. Not on that. Reuben Davis coming in. Winston Moss coming in. A sandwich right there. Son, welcome to the NFL. Bang.
A lot of people think that Willis is the quarterback of the future here in Chicago. He looked impressive last week in a losing cause against Detroit. 3rd down and 14. And the pass is intercepted by Ricky Reynolds. Reynolds in Bear territory. And he very nearly outran Ron Morris, who caught him from behind. And now the Bears, with the 3rd interception thrown by Chicago quarterbacks, a 46-yard return by Reynolds.
Ron Morris fell down. He was the intended receiver. He breaks to the inside. Willis throws, and there's Morris on the ground. The defender jumps in front of him. Now watch Morris. He's got to get up and go after that interceptor. A good job right there of getting outside by Reynolds, but Morris slow getting off the ground, although he does finally make the play.
It looked like Willis had forced this ball.
Well, I think the thing that kills him is that slippery turf down there, but it was not a well-thrown pass without question.
1st down on the Bears, 13. Testaverde chased by Dent. Nowhere to go.
Ice skates.
And throws incomplete. The footing, you mentioned at that side, is treacherous, but the Bears are doing a spectacular job today of covering Tampa Bay receivers.
Big Paul Gruber, number 74, right in the middle of your screen on Dent. Watch Dent. Dent gets away and then can't keep his feet. Right to the ground. He gets his shot right there on Trace Armstrong. He looks around. Can I get somebody else? Then he finally falls down. Testaverde must have the best shoes of the bunch. He kept his feet.
Seemed as if the Bears had 14 men on the field defending.
You know what's great? Nobody open, even after all that time. That's great work in the secondary.
2nd down and 10. Testaverde going for the downs, and it is incomplete. Mark Carrier was out of the end zone. Bestie Jackson covering.
Perfect execution, except for one thing. Carrier ended up out of bounds. Watch the feet here. You can't throw a ball any better than that. He's going to get one, well, maybe on the line. 2nd one clearly out, though. No question he was out of the end zone, but Carrier concentrating on that football.
Inside the 20, the Bears, 3 possessions, 3 touchdowns. Tampa Bay, inside the 20 twice, have scored 1 time. 3rd and 10. Testaverde thrown back. The whistle had blown, and Donnell Wolford on a blitz came right up the middle and a loss of 8 yards. And the 3rd sack of the game by the Chicago Bears.
Richard Williamson said he felt that this team had reverted to a zone temperament. They come lower left side of your screen. Here he comes right here inside. A late breaking blitz here. They try to pick up Morrissey inside and nobody there. They're just outnumbered. Wolford right into Testaverde.
That's got to be the first time the Bears have blitzed today.
They've come a couple of times, but not with that many people.
Steve Christie, who has kicked 8 straight field goals, earlier had an 11 field goal streak. This is from 39 yards. Mark Royals holding. Kick is blocked. And the Bears will get it at the 35. Christie had kicked 8 straight field goals before that block.
The Bears just push everyone back. This ball kicked a little bit low, and it looks like Dent, number 95, inside, who reached up and slapped that football back into the backfield.
Both Dent and Price were both there. One of them got a hand on it. I think you're right with Dent. And the Bears take over first down on their 35-yard line. Make it the 36. With 9 minutes and 46 seconds to go in the fourth quarter, Buffalo now leading Miami 24-7. You saw the Eagles still with their lead over Dallas.
So many positive plays. If you're a Bear fan, you're part of this Bear team in this game today. They have really been able to turn up the heat, which they felt they had to do getting back toward the playoffs.
Peter Tom Willis, the quarterback, in relief of Mike Tomczak. And the handoff is to Mark Green. Fine bit of running by Green, and he picks up a first down. Randall and Hamilton defending.
If you're playing behind Neil Anderson, you don't get many chances to get on the field. Not only extremely durable, but he loves to play the game. Mark Green has gotten an opportunity here today, and he is learning a great deal, and he's making the most of it.
Well, if the Bears can look this good without Neil Anderson and Jim Harbaugh, that bodes well for postseason. First down on the 47 of Chicago. Here's Green again.
Green took the handoff.
And Broderick Thomas the first to reach him. Word, by the way, from San Francisco is that Joe Montana awoke this morning with a sore groin muscle and has decided not to start today, but will play if he is needed. Steve Young will start for the 49ers in the second half of our CBS doubleheader as the Saints, still alive in the playoff derby, go against the 49ers at Candlestick Park. Coming up next.
The name of Steve Young will bring back some memories to Tampa Bay fans. Young, of course, traded to San Francisco from Tampa Bay.
Second down and 7 at midfield. Here's Green. That'll bring up third and about 4 or 5. Reuben Davis on the stop. Buccaneers seeing their slim playoff hopes dwindling here with under 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Bears, since the first quarter, have gone to town against Tampa Bay.
They certainly have. They've taken charge in this game, and part of that, I think, the help of their Chicago Bear weather. They just simply play better in this weather than a warm weather team like Tampa Bay. Ditka said it the other day. He said, hey, somebody's going to have to come in here on January 5th or January 6th, and they're going to have to beat us at home.
That's a tall order for any team, Dallas or whomever. Third down and 5. Penalty marker is down.
Van Horn offside on the far side.
False start, 78 offense.
Only a defensive lineman like you would be watching those offensive linemen.
I see him in there. This is such a, the Bears offensive line is fun to watch. I mean, they are colorful characters. They are just fun to be around. Talked to Van Horn yesterday, went in the training room. He was in the ice water. He was up to his neck in ice water trying to soak that body. He had been around for 10 years. But what a great one he's been over the years.
It'll be 3rd down and 10. There's Mike Tomczak, who had a terrific day. 16 of 33, 239 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. A bit shaky with the passing game, which Mike Ditka doesn't like nearly as much as the running game, but he generated something with that offense today.
He was explosive, and you remember 5 of those missed passes, the first 5 he threw.
3rd down and 10 at the 47. Willis has time, and Wendell Davis makes a fine grab and a first down into Tampa Bay territory. 15-yard gain with Wayne Haddix on his back.
And that's what Mike Ditka and Greg Landry like when they look at Peter Tom Willis. He has a great sense coming out of Florida State University. Bobby Bowden's offense, a pro-style offense. I watched him play one of the best games I've ever seen a college football player have in the Fiesta Bowl as a senior. He's a little bit like Joe Montana. Played as a 5th-year senior, had to wait that long and lit it up. And he has some of the same characteristics. That great arm, quick release. They like him here in Chicago.
First down on the 38. Here's Green. And Mark Green. They have another first down, and he does for the Bears. Wayne Haddix on the stop. And so Mark Green today with his best day rushing of the season. Prior to that, he gained 32 yards against the Seattle Seahawks in the first game of the season, and today he has gained 42 yards on 10 carries.
Look at that smile, a very subtle little smile, but he has earned it. One thing I remember so well from cold days like this, you don't feel all of those hits. You don't feel the pain until later. Your body is so cold that you can't feel it until you finally get warmed up.
It is a first down for Chicago. So Neil Anderson out of action with a cracked rib. Mark Green, 42 yards rushing, and Brad Muster, 143 total yards. And Muster also with a touchdown. So the Bears have to be pleased with Anderson's subs today. 1st and 10 on the 28 of Tampa Bay. Here's Green again. Kind of lost his footing behind Van Horn.
Did you see what he did? He had a hand on the back of Van Horn, and he actually grabbed a hold as he started to fall and straightened himself back up. Watch Green now. He follows in behind the pull of Van Horn and Thayer right here. Now as he gets up inside, he's going to reach out with his hand right there. He starts to slide. Watch him just reach out and get a little pull himself back up and slide inside. That's got a big target to get a hold of there.
That's called riding on somebody's coattails. Under 5 minutes to go in the game. 2nd down and 7 at the 25 of the Tampa Bay Bucks. Now they send Green in motion. James Rouse bounced off about 4 people and gave ground on that play. And finally, Broderick Thomas making the tackle. Philadelphia Eagles, Eric Allen with an interception return for a touchdown, and the Eagles leading the Cowboys 17-3. There are the other scores, including Buffalo ready to wrap up home field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs.
Doing it impressively without Jim Kelly. Boy, the watch cry around the league is our backup quarterback is better than your backup quarterback. So many of them having to step in and carry the load. Well, we've seen it here today on both sides.
3rd down and 8. Under 4 minutes to go, and Willis will call a timeout. That'll be the 2nd timeout called by the Bears. So the Bears are unquestionably in control of this game. Both ends of the football today. And we'll be back to Soldier Field after this.
Chicago's 2nd timeout.
AT&T, the right choice. Rick Upchurch of the Broncos is one of only 2 players ever to gain over 3,000 yards in punt returns. Who holds the record for punt return yards in a career? Leroy Irvin of the Rams, Greg Pruitt of the Raiders.
This has been awfully tough here at Soldier Field, and if you look at the best home records since 1980, Bears are right at the top.
Well, they certainly are, and Sometimes those Bears hibernate in the cold. Well, they haven't done it here today. And look at those other playoff teams there. Miami, Washington, San Francisco 49ers, all extremely tough at home. And the 49ers, of course, have the home field advantage throughout the playoffs.
And the Redskins' home field advantage may be in jeopardy in that first wild card game. 3rd down and 8 at the 26. Willis's pass. And that was intended for Tom Waddle, and might have made a catch on that, but he lost his footing. Once again, we want to remind you, Christmas Day, 3 o'clock here on CBS, Olympic Winterfest. Countdown to CBS exclusive coverage of the Albertville Olympics in 1992. And we'll showcase a lot of the stars of the winter sports world. U.S. Open Figure Skating Championships. You'll see performances by Katarina Witt and Scott Hamilton. Our hosts will be Tim McCarver and Paul Azan. So get on the winter sports bandwagon with Olympic Winterfest Christmas Day. Kevin Butler with a 43-yard field goal attempt. Looks true, and the kick is good. Butler with field goals from 46 and 43 yards extends the Bears lead now to 27-7.
Excellent kick by the injured kicker. Nailed that shoulder last week on a tackle. He took down a ball carrier on the return, but he has had an outstanding day playing in pain, as he will do for the next few weeks.
Soldier Field in Chicago. Many of the fans have left. They've seen enough of the cold. 11 degrees right now, but they've been treated to a fine performance by the Chicago Bears. Defensively, the Bears have been playing well defensively, but offensively, the 27 points and the way they did it today, mixing the passing with the running, with Tomczak in for Harbaugh, who is out for the season, that's going to be a big checkpoint for Mike Ditka.
The other thing that Ditka has been able to do today is to get his 3rd quarterback, now the number 2 quarterback, Peter Tom Willis, a little more experience in this game, get him a little bit more comfortable in the framework of the offense. So Ditka has been able to touch bases on a number of the goals that he set for the team today.
Neil Anderson could have played if this were a critical game. Harbaugh is out for the rest of the year, so a good sign with Tomczak leading the club. Butler 2 for 3 in field goals today, will be kicking off. And it's picked up by Drury.
You don't think it's tough to run down there? Boom.
And right now, we told you about Joe Montana. Right now, let's get more from Greg Gumbel in New York. Greg?
Well, Dick, earlier we raised the question about the Niners resting and protecting Joe Montana. Vern Lundquist has late word from San Francisco.
Joe Montana has been bothered by a slight groin strain much of the week. He woke up this morning, he wasn't feeling good. He has decided not to suit up for today's game. Now, he's not on the inactive list. He could play if necessary. But with quarterbacks dropping throughout the league, the 49ers are taking the safe route. Steve Young will start and play against the Saints.
Chris Chandler is the quarterback. 1st and 10 on the 15-yard line. Chandler completes the pass to Bruce Hill. And Hill is down at the 30-yard line, a gain of 16 yards. So what do you think of the Joe Montana news in San Francisco?
If I were coaching out in San Francisco, there's no way in the world that I'd put Joe Montana on the field today. What do you gain? I mean, they have locked up home field. They can only lose in this situation.
Chandler is going to run out of the pocket on 1st and 10, and he gets hit hard.
And he's hurt. Chandler looks like he may have hurt his knee on that play.
Dante Jones, Bears linebacker. Here it is.
Watch Chandler. And again, this turf frozen. It might catch a cleat. As he goes down, that leg goes right back underneath him. It looked like the ankle. He sat down on that right ankle, and it snapped up underneath him. Dante Jones really does not have much impact, but look at the foot rolling back under his hip right there, and he is hurting.
Chandler is hurting on the sideline. A good point you make of Joe Montana. Although earlier in the week when someone suggested that maybe Young could get some snaps, he says, you know, I'm not here to sit down and let the backup quarterback play, even though the 49ers have a week off, and there could be some case for letting Montana play under ordinary circumstances so he doesn't lose his timing because they still have that week off.
I talked to Joe Montana about Steve Young, and he doesn't even like to see Steve Young take snaps in practice. I mean, Montana wants to control that position. I'm sure part of it because he feels he needs the snaps. He feels like he needs to stay in his rhythm. But also there's something personal there between those two.
Yeah.
They don't talk a lot about it, but there is a very intense rivalry.
Chandler limps off the field. And Vinny Testaverde back in the game. In the AFC Central Division with Pittsburgh winning today over Cleveland. That's the picture. Houston facing Cincinnati, and the Bengals have opened up a 34-20 lead. Big game for a big week for Pittsburgh. Testaverde gets sacked. He was in the grass, and it was Dante Jones who's making the most of his opportunity, and that is the 4th sack of the day by the Bears defense.
Quarterback move in grasp and control.
Loss of 14 yards.
Chance to watch number 53, Dante Jones, coming hard here from way back. Watch him. There's just nobody there to pick him up. Again, the Bucs outnumbered on that side. And Testaverde goes down to the sack.
3rd down and 17 with 2.5 to play. Testaverde's pass is caught by Bruce Hill. And a fine timing catch, and a penalty marker has been thrown after this 24-yard gain. And we may have a personal foul. Marcus Paul and Maurice Douglas combine to make the snap on Hill.
49 defense. Penalty is declined. First down.
David Tate was holding. They'll decline the penalty.
Watch the long arm fake right here. Right here. Pump one time. Whoop. A little bit earlier on it. But a good toss over the top. Tate had excellent position, but that ball just well thrown right over the shoulder of the defender.
1st down and 10 on the 49-yard line. Testaverde off balance, lets it fly, and we'll have a flag against the Bears. Mark Carrier was interfered with by John Mangum, and that'll give the Bucs a 1st down deep in Chicago territory.
We talked about the disadvantage of playing in this cold weather for a warm weather team. Mangum told me earlier today, I've never played in anything less than 40 degrees. He's getting a baptism today. The footing an enemy here, but he can't hit the man like that from behind. He just tripped, caused a penalty. They'll take it all the way down to the 15-yard line.
And a 1st down on the 15-yard line with 2:15 to play. Out of the shotgun is Testaverde. And wide open is John Harvey, but the pass was overthrown. Today, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers inside the 20 on 3 times scored a touchdown, but more impressive, the Bears perfect today when they've gotten inside the Buccaneers 20-yard line.
They talked about the fact that they couldn't just settle for field goals as they did a couple of weeks ago against Washington when that's all they could put on the board. Today, they put up those 7 points.
Bucs scored first in the game, 7-0. And the Bears with 27 unanswered points. John Harvey going wide is run out of bounds by Mickey Pruitt.
Vince Tobin must be a happy man for these Bears having to make so many adjustments. Ron Rivera out, Ron Cox out, John Roper out. He's had to reshuffle his defense, came in with a 5 lineman and 5 defensive back alignment. There he is, calling things on the sideline. He has to be a very happy man. Not only has his defense played well in spite of being short-handed, but they really have controlled this game.
You call that man happy?
Well, he's got his hands full. They're down inside the 15-yard line right now.
3rd down and 7. Testaverde's pass. Crossing pattern and the mix-up. Frank Pillow, one of the receivers downfield, and that'll bring up 4th down, and the Buccaneers will go for it on 4th down with nothing to lose. And Richard Williamson is 2 minutes and 2 seconds away from his first defeat ever as a head coach.
Well, it would even his record. He was so happy coming in with a 1-0 record. Now he's going to have to live with a 500 record.
How quickly the percentage drops.
Well, it changed for him very quickly early when he was hired. That all happened. He said Coach Ray Perkins walked out of the meeting. Within an hour, he was the head coach.
On 4th down and 7. Harvey holds onto it, and I believe he's got enough for the first down.
Just by a fraction.
And with 1:55 showing on the clock, we'll have our 2-minute warning right here. And here's how the Buccaneers got the first down. Harvey wide open, and he found the sticks. We'll be back. Here at Soldier Field in Chicago, where the Bears remain undefeated at home at 7-0, and Tampa Bay scored first in this game at a 7-0 lead, and the Bears came back with 27 unanswered points to win going away, although the Buccaneers have a 1st and goal at the 4-yard line.
Those 2 interceptions look kind of ugly for Testaverde. The last time he was here, he had 5, so that's not nearly as painful as what he did, or last time he played the Bears, actually, in Tampa Bay earlier in the year. He had 5.
Testaverde's pass caught for a touchdown by Bruce Hill. 4-yard touchdown pass, so the Buccaneers score first and maybe last, and now it's 27-13. Testaverde's 16th touchdown pass of the season.
You'll see Bruce Hill coming down across. He gets away from his man right there. 36, Marcus Paul, and just streaks inside. Testaverde has really thrown some good passes during this day, but he's also thrown some really awful passes today.
Steve Christie with the extra point, and the kick is good. 27-14 is the score now. Well, tonight on CBS begins with 60 Minutes. The dream is to go to college on a basketball scholarship and then make it to the pros. The reality for most is a trip right back to where they started from. 60 Minutes tonight, followed by Murder, She Wrote, and the CBS Sunday movie Always Remember I Love You, starring Patty Duke, Joan Van Ark, and David Burney. That's all coming up tonight on CBS. Bears, by winning, will go 11-4 on the year, and Tampa Bay 6-9 will end their playoff hopes. While we have a moment, we want to thank some people. The coordinating producers of the NFL on CBS are Charles H. Milton III and Ed Gorin. Today's telecast was produced by Richard Zients and directed by Andy J. Kindle. The NFL Today was produced by Eric Mann and directed by Duke Struck. The senior producer of CBS Sports is David Winter, and the executive producer of CBS Sports is Ted Shaker. Buffalo beats Miami, and the Bills, they have been red hot, Merlin. They win the AFC East and will have home field advantage throughout.
And home field for Buffalo, much as it is for Chicago, means cold winds and freezing temperatures, and it is big for them as well.
Christie will be kicking off, and Johnny Bailey is back deep for the Bears.
Onside kick.
And it's Waddle covers it up. So the Bears will take over in Tampa Bay territory with that much time remaining. Philadelphia Eagles still lead the Dallas Cowboys 17-3. Tampa Bay, by losing, is out of the playoff picture. The New Orleans Saints still have hope. They will play the 49ers coming up next on CBS. Most of you will see that game with Steve Young starting at quarterback, but the Saints right now are still alive, as are the Phoenix Cardinals, who play later against the New York Giants. First down for the Bears on the Bucs 43. Johnny Bailey. And a good hole open up. Hamilton makes the stop. 9 yards on that play. So Dallas will not be able to wrap up a wild card berth. And Philadelphia will move into a tie with the Redskins. And if they end up in a tie, the Eagles will have the home field advantage because of a better conference record. The Bears will play the third wild card survivor. It'll be Dallas or New Orleans or Phoenix, but they'll be home for that first wild card battle. And the Eagles have won. They've defeated the Dallas Cowboys 17-3. Tampa Bay has used a timeout here with 1:28 remaining.
One of the things that has to please Mike Ditka, they've been able to survive on this day without apparently losing any more players. Disastrous week last week. We talked about it many times, not only the injuries, but also the loss of Fred Washington. But they look to be able to get out of this one without losing any more bodies.
Philadelphia won the game, as we said, so they are now 9-6 on the year, and they would jump ahead of the Washington Redskins as the #1 wild card team. Second down and 1. It's James Rouse. And he'll lose a couple of yards. So there is the updated wild card picture. Philadelphia and Washington 9-6. Redskins still have to play Buffalo next week. The Eagles will close at Phoenix in a game you'll see Saturday on CBS. And if they end up as they are, tied with the same record, the Eagles would have the home field advantage on that first wild card weekend against Washington. Dallas, of course, still alive as the #3 wild card team, and a timeout called by Tampa Bay.
Great many of these Bear fans on the highway headed home, some probably doing the last-minute Christmas shopping. And we'd like to take the opportunity to pass along season's greetings to all the good people out there who tuned in, shared this day with us. Hope it's a joyous season for all.
And of course, Christmas gifts will be under the tree, and sometimes some flowers will be under the tree as well, Merlin.
Santa brings flowers, you know that. He does bring those flowers.
Well, my family got some. Third down and 3 for the Bears with 1:17 remaining. Tom Willis completes it to Dennis Gentry. That'll be a Chicago first down.
That'll show you something about the young quarterback. He gunned that football. The long out. He threw it very well.
7-yard gain that time. But on the day in which the Bears did not have Harbaugh and Neil Anderson, Tomczak and Brad Muster did a terrific job filling in against the team that was still in playoff contention.
I'm sure one of the things that's going through their heads, just think how much better we're going to be when we get a healthy Neil Anderson back. He'll be rested. He'll be ready to step back into the flow of the action.
1st and 10 for the Bears on the 29. Johnny Bayless. Bears will be home for that first wild card game, but then the second week, if they win, they have to play the Giants on the road. The Giants have been struggling as of late, so it'll be interesting to see whether the Bears or the Giants are more at a peak playoff position when that time comes.
Both fighting to put themselves back into the framework of playoff football.
And both chasing the Niners. So for Merlin Olsen, this is Dick Stockton saying so long from Soldier Field. The final score, the Bears 27 and the Buccaneers 14. Stay with us for game 2 of our doubleheader as the New Orleans Saints travel to San Francisco to take on the world champion 49ers. Our coverage will continue after this message from your local station. You are watching the NFL on CBS.
The airline that brings you 10 countries across a legend. But only a select few can truly be called the best ever. Each position on a football team requires special skills, but no position requires as many different skills as quarterback.